You wake at 4:52 a.m. No alarm. You stopped needing one around day 11 when your body figured out that sleep was just a maintenance window, not a refuge. The first thing you do is listen. 30 seconds of absolute stillness. Ears open to the city below. Wind through a broken window on the 4th floor. A door somewhere creaking on a hinge that will eventually rust through. Nothing else. You breathe out slowly and begin the protocol. Water, 11 liters. Food, 9 days of viable rations, stacked in order of caloric density against the east wall. Left forearm wound, healing, no discoloration, no smell. You uncap the black marker and draw the 47th line on the wall beside the window frame. 47 days. You are precise about this, because precision is the only thing left that feels like control. The apartment walls are covered in hand-drawn maps, supply routes marked in red, movement logs dated and timed in columns, a sketch of the 6-mile corridor between here and the broadcast tower on the East Ridge, annotated with choke points, sight lines, and shelter options every half mile. And at eye level by the door, taped with the last of the packing tape, a photograph. Your sister, smiling at something off camera at a birthday dinner that existed in a different world entirely. You touch it before you leave. You have touched it every single morning for 47 days. The broadcast has been looping for 16 days. Government issue. Pre-recorded, steady as a metronome. Survivors report to East Ridge Station. Evacuation window closes day 60. 13 days from now. Your pack weighs 34 pounds. 1 Phoenix flashlight, fully charged. A fire axe with a cracked handle that still swings true. A medical kit. A hand crank radio that only receives. You have been preparing for this moment since the signal first cut through the static, and today you move. You lock the apartment, descend 4 flights of stairs in darkness, and push out into the street. The pre-dawn air smells like standing water and something chemical underneath. Faint and permanent now, like the city itself is slowly oxidizing. Across the boulevard, a door is swinging. Slow, deliberate, back and forth. Not wind, the angle is wrong. Something opened it from inside, then let it fall. Your mapped route runs straight for 2 miles before curving northeast. But a moving door means something active in this sector, and your route offers no cover for the first 6 blocks. You stand on the empty sidewalk doing the math. There is another option. Longer, more exposed in patches, but you know every exit by memory. The hospital where you worked for 6 years, where you requisitioned surgical supplies and managed delivery schedules, and once spent a Tuesday afternoon arguing with a vendor over the price of nitrile gloves. Where you last saw your sister, 3 days before the city went quiet. You tell yourself it is tactical. You are already moving. The hospital ground floor is stripped. Supply rooms empty. Shelving units tipped and rusting. The emergency ward is barricaded from the inside with gurneys and bolted bed frames, a last stand that happened weeks before you arrived. In the stairwell, a single child's shoe sits on the 3rd step. You step over it without slowing. The pharmacy stops you cold. Not the emptied shelves. The log. A spiral notebook. Handwritten, dated 6 days ago. Supply notes. Movement patterns for infected, tracked across 3-day intervals. A route sketched toward the East Ridge in pencil, with the same annotations you would have made yourself. Whoever wrote this was thinking in the same system, the same logic, the same quiet, organizing desperation that keeps panic from winning. The last line is unfinished. Movement on level 3. Not infected. Repeat. Not. The pen is still on the counter. The ink dried at the tip without being capped. You take the notebook. You leave the pen. The broadest exposed section of your route opens up at mile 2.8, 4 blocks of straight boulevard with no overhead cover and 30 meters between doorways. You move fast and low, counting steps, keeping your axe hand-free. Halfway across, the footsteps start. Behind you, measured, matching your pace exactly. You stop. They stop. You move. They move. You break into a full run, and the footsteps run too, but the distance between you stays constant, maybe 40 feet, never closing. Not chasing, following. You duck into a parking garage and kill the flashlight. Concrete smell and old gasoline and the faint copper of rust. You wait 22 minutes in total darkness, counting your own heartbeat to stay anchored. Nothing enters. When you finally move again, the footsteps are gone. Your hands don't stop shaking for another quarter mile. The distribution center sits at mile 3.9, a wide concrete building with a loading bay you can barricade from inside. Your planned shelter. You clear the perimeter, secure the doors, eat half a ration, drink measured water. You are doing everything right. You are textbook. The manager's office is small and smells like mildew and stale coffee. On the far wall, a list. 12 names, written carefully in vertical column with dates beside each one. You move the flashlight closer before you understand what you are reading, and closer still before you understand what it is written in. Dried brown, applied with a deliberate hand, not violence. A memorial. You read down the list. The dates span the last 30 days. At the bottom, where the handwriting shifts slightly, hurried at the edges, is a name you have not heard spoken aloud in 47 days. Your sister's name. Date. Day 38. 9 days ago. She was here. She was alive, and she was here. And she wrote her own name on this wall in the only ink she had. You leave the shelter. You leave the half-eaten ration on the floor. You move. The residential grid at midnight is a different kind of dark than the open streets. Tighter shadows. More doors. Your radio crackles without warning, and a voice comes through, live and human and completely disorienting. A man, calm, unhurried, reading coordinates, naming districts, giving specific information about infected movement patterns and supply caches. He names your district. He says 2 survivors were confirmed near the hospital yesterday. 2, not 1. You stand in the middle of a dead street with the radio pressed to your ear until the broadcast shifts back to static. And then you stand there a little longer. Hope is a physiological event. Your chest does something it has not done in weeks. You start walking faster. The footsteps return at mile 5.1. Same rhythm, same distance. This time, you stop and turn and shine the flashlight directly into the dark behind you. A dog. Large, mixed breed, ribs showing through dull fur, moving with the careful patience of an animal that has learned which human behaviors mean danger and which mean food. It stops when the light hits it. It does not run. It watches you with flat, calm eyes. The collar is worn leather. Went to the tower. Signed with a single, went to the tower. Signed with a single letter. MM, the handwriting from the hospital log. Someone tracked your route, watched you move through the city, and chose not to approach. Instead, a dog. A message. You look at the animal for a long moment. It looks back, entirely unbothered by the weight of what it just delivered. You walk. The dog follows, 40 feet back, steady as a shadow. The pedestrian bridge at mile 5.7 is the only crossing that reaches the tower before dawn. You smell them before you see them. Below the bridge, in the dry riverbed, dozens of infected, clustered and slow, drawn by the broadcast speaker mounted on the tower ahead, or by some sensory pull you stop trying to understand around day 20. The bridge is exposed, 40 meters of open railing with no cover, and a straight drop to the riverbed on either side. The radio crackles again. The man's voice, live. East Ridge Station, confirmed active. One survivor checked in approximately 2 hours ago. Female, Station preparing final departure at first light. Your sister is already there. She thinks she is the last one. You step onto the bridge and move in complete silence, each footfall placed like a question. Below, the mass drifts, directionless. None of them look up. The broadcast loops from the tower speaker 40 meters ahead, and the sound washes over you as you walk toward it, half covering the sound of your own breathing. You reach the other side. Your legs carry you the last 100 meters at a run you cannot fully control. The station door opens before you reach it. A man, older, uniformed, the voice from the radio made flesh, stands in the doorway and looks at you with an expression that takes you a full second to read. Not relief. Something more complicated than relief. You push past him. You call her name. The station is one room, essentially. Generator humming in the corner. Comms array blinking amber and green. A single cot against the far wall. The figure on the cot turns at the sound of your voice. It is her. She stares at you. You stare back. Neither of you speaks for what feels like a geologic interval. The silence of two people recalibrating reality in real time. Dinner, the other half of the frame. She dinner, the other half of the frame. She has been here 2 days. She tracked the same broadcast, took the southern route, arrived believing you were dead. She told the operator she was the last survivor in the city. The operator clears his throat. You both look at him. He looks at the floor first, then at you, with the expression of a man who has been rehearsing an uncomfortable sentence. The evacuation transport departed 6 hours ago. The window in the broadcast loop referred to departure preparation, not survivor arrival. A translation error in the original recording that his team identified 2 weeks ago and flagged for correction. The correction never came. There is no transport today. The next one comes in 4 days. The station has power, water, and enough supply for 8. You made it. You are safe. You are together. You were never the last person alive. You were both out there, moving through the same dead city in opposite directions, carrying photographs of each other, each one believing the same lie. The apocalypse did not separate you. Assumption did. You stopped looking for each other before you had any real evidence to justify it, because grief is easier to carry than hope, and hope, if it turns out to be wrong, is the one thing that can finish you when nothing else could. At sunrise, something scratches at the station door. You open it. The dog steps inside, finds a corner, and lies down like it has been waiting 47 days for a floor to rest on. The people who love you are rarely as gone as the silence makes them seem. The question is whether you stop walking before you find out. If you want to see more, click the video on screen now.